The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max Smackdown Review.
And we are live, mid-yawn, to the W2M Network with the Wrestling to the Max SmackDown live review. Great timing, Sean. Hi, everyone. My name's Harry Broadhurst. I am your host for the evening. And wait a minute, you're not Liz.
I appear again.
Who keeps giving this kid the keys to the castle? Come on now.
I get to torture you 2 days in a row again.
I'm not built for this. What's up, Bisco? Brandon Biskobing. You know, pretty soon Gary and Paul are going to try to talk us into doing the Monday Night Raw review for Wrestling to the Max as well.
I mean, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, but then I'd have to discuss Raw twice every night, and I don't Monday night. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, right. You have the Raw reaction, so that would be a little trickier for you.
Yeah, cheap plug, 11:30 p.m. live every Monday night. Chairshot Radio Network. All right, let's get to it, shall we?
Yep.
So, busy night in the WWE tonight, actually, with the launch of the Mixed Match Challenge and 205 Live apparently getting cut to a half an hour now in the wake of the Mixed Match happening here.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people didn't realize this. I mean, especially with everyone complaining about how, Raw is too long and, the reason why 205 gets so dead is because of, it being that third hour that no one really cares about. Did people really expect them to go all the way until 11:30?
I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, it's not like they haven't done dumb stuff like that before.
True, but with how they're basically, I know that this whole Mixed Match Challenge thing is only for a couple of weeks, but, they're kind of pushing 205 Live to the side again. I was not at all surprised that it was only a half hour.
I feel like 205 Live would be better off just going to 205 Live pre-taped from Full Sail on Wednesdays after NXT.
I agree.
But then you'd have to figure out a way to justify that into the live airings of the show on Monday Night Raw as well, and that's kind of your bugaboo there. But enough about 205 Live. This isn't that review. We'll talk 205 Live when we talk that and the Mixed Match Challenge debut a little bit later on. But for now, let's get into the January 16th episode of SmackDown Live here. And we start the show with the New Day, and all three gentlemen cut a promo about the modern-day No, that's gimmick infringement if I keep it up any longer.
I like that. That was funny how they just kept on going and going. I mean, it got a little long, but it was still funny.
Well, there's not really a whole lot that you can talk about with Mahal, though.
No.
And let's be honest here. How many promos can you really cut about pancakes?
Plenty if you're the New Day.
Clearly. You do realize what's going to happen here. This is going to lead to Bisquick branded New Day pancakes.
Well, hopefully, but, we all thought that CM Punk's dream was going to come true when they were bringing out the ice cream cart, and that never happened.
I miss the old WWF ice cream bars. Those were delicious.
Then where are my WWE ice cream bars?
In the same place as Zack Ryder's Push.
Very true.
But anyways, this actually does lead to Xavier Woods taking on Jinder Mahal in the first of our two semifinals for the U.S. title tonight. And there's something else in regards to the U.S. title. We'll get to that in a bit. Dun, dun, dun. Dramatic reverb. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Eric. Anywho, my Kindle just shut down on me. How nice of it. All right, anyway, I know what happens here, so I can go ahead and just handle this. Jinder Mahal picks up the win over Xavier Woods, pinning him with a coloss after about 18 minutes of action, about 14 of which was shown on television. Because, oddly enough, there was part of the match where they did not show it during the commercial break. I want to get your thoughts on the match first, and then we'll talk about Mahal advancing afterwards.
Well, but before I get into the match, I also want to mention one more thing about their promo. It was funny to hear them talking about threes and Biggie mentioning Home Alone 1, 2, and 3, and then them deciding to say, "Oh wait, never mind, three doesn't count."
Okay, so completely off topic here, but the first movie I ever saw in theaters, Home Alone 3.
That's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the match, that was weird. I guess I wasn't really fully paying attention at the time, but I didn't even notice that they didn't show part of the match on TV, that they cut away completely from it. Because now obviously SmackDown is doing the picture-in-picture thing during the commercials, which I like.
They do that during the main events, usually. The main event they don't show during the commercial breaks because it's more of a live experience thing.
Yeah. The main event is the only match that they don't do it. But yeah, I mean, it was a decent match. I mean, nothing really to write home about, though. I mean, Xavier has definitely gotten better in the ring, but he's still growing, and Jinder is just Jinder. So,
it was every Jinder Mahal 2017 match, more or less.
Pretty much, yeah.
That wasn't against AJ Styles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Allow me to add that caveat.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of interesting seeing them, with Xavier with them fighting out of the ring, and then, Jinder trying to take the cheap way out and trying to get a count out, which is, very much Jinder Mahal type style, and then Xavier beating the count at 9. So, I mean, there were a few interesting moments in this match. But especially considering it was a Xavier against Jinder match and nothing really to write home about, it's crazy that this went almost a half hour. And, I mean, I'll talk about this more later, but I just, while on the real-time sense of it, it kind of went fast, I just felt like this Raw just kind of SmackDown. This SmackDown kind of just dragged and just,
We'll discuss SmackDown as a whole towards the end of the show when we do our score and our one-word review. Save your thoughts for there.
Okay.
So that leads to technically a pre-tape promo with Baron Corbin, because he gets a nice little Corbin graphic. Apparently they're going to do that going forward for SmackDown. I actually kind of like the idea here, the handheld camera interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's something that'll differentiate it a little bit from Raw, even though I do love me some Charlie Caruso. And with Renee Young apparently going to be busy as the hostess with the mostess of the Mixed Match Challenge, that leaves them in a situation where they have very little in the way of available interviewers. We do see one notable exception to that a little bit later on in the show. We'll get to that when we get to it. Speaking of Renee, she actually has an interview with AJ Styles here, and he talks about the match coming up at the Royal Rumble where he takes on Sammy Owens. Sammy Owens? That's almost as bad as AJ calling them Cammy.
Well, I thought of one earlier that would bring back memories for some certain old school WCW fans, and a certain member of the Rhodes family who was on 205 Live tonight. I thought they could also call him Seven.
That's not funny.
Oh, yes, it is.
That's awful. How dare you reference Vince Russo in this show? Get out. I miss you already. Anyway, he talks about the fact that this isn't the Sammy and Kevin show. It's the house that AJ Styles built. We would not see anything else from Sammy, Kevin, or AJ the rest of this episode.
Which was a shocker.
Well, there is still a go-home next week, so I think that's kind of why with the focus that they put on the U.S. title tonight due to the fact that the title match got pulled from the Royal Rumble card. We'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
All the women in the SmackDown Women's Rumble, all the women that are in the Women's Royal Rumble from SmackDown get a quick promo here. Your thoughts on anybody in particular that stood out?
I
thought Carmella's was pretty good.
Carmella's was kind of interesting. But, I mean, the thing about Carmella, and, I mean, this is kind of getting off topic, but, like, you know, they've...
That's what we do here.
What?
That's what we do here. Go ahead.
But have they... I mean, yes, she mentioned it, and she had it in her hand during this promo, but, you know, are they actually ever going to do anything with her with the briefcase?
I mean, they've still got 5 months.
True. Nothing really.
Just real quick, Dolph Ziggler held it all the way until the night after WrestleMania, the year that he won it. So
that is true. But I mean, nothing crazy stood out to me.
Lana's did.
Yeah, Lana's was kind of interesting. But that's it. I mean, there's nothing really, you know.
I just realized something as soon as I mentioned Lana. Yeah. Where the heck was Rusev Day?
Didn't they announce that they were... Well, no, they had a segment with them and Breezango. They had a Fashion Files thing.
That wasn't shown on SmackDown. That was .com exclusive.
They showed part of it on TV.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, they showed part of it with Rusev Day coming into, like, I guess their Fashion Files office or whatever, and, like, demanding a rematch, and then...
the Fashion Police say that Rusev Day will face the Ascension instead. I just saw Larry's review.
Yes.
Oh, well, I completely missed that. That must have been when I was either getting something to eat or finishing up using the restroom. My mistake. All right. I apologize for thinking that Rusev Day was missing from SmackDown, although they weren't a big enough part of SmackDown. Anyway.
Well, no one would really...
Final match is Bobby Roode and Mojo Rawley. I think there's a lot of potential with Mojo Rawley, but I do believe that this was the right decision. Heel versus heel for the final of the U.S. title tournament would have been dumb, not to mention Bobby Roode is the biggest face with the most momentum going into this tournament, as he was the face in the three-way for the U.S. title back at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there that they made the right call here with Bobby.
Yeah. That being said, I do think that Mojo's a future United States champion.
Oh, absolutely. He'll definitely get his opportunity moving forward.
He has the look. He's settling into his character, and his promo work has been superb over the last couple of weeks since the split with Zack Ryder. That being said, it is Bobby Roode via pinfall at 13 minutes and 10 seconds aired with the glorious DDT. The Singh brothers come out to introduce the modern-day Mahal. Okay, that bit's run its course. And they attack Bobby Roode first. Roode fights them off as Mahal promises to take out Bobby Roode once and for all and to win the U.S. title. Bobby Roode demands a microphone, very loudly picked up by the ring mic, yelling for one, and says that why wait for the finals of the U.S. title tournament? They can do it tonight. Daniel Bryan arrives, and hey-ho, what do you know? There we go. U.S. title match on for this evening. That's our main event. Which is good, because they hadn't announced a main event. Funny how these things work out. It's like it's determined or something. Anywho. Moving on, Randy Orton promo about the Rumble.
I mean, he made some better points than some of the women did.
Really? You're going to compare his promo to the women's division? That seems fair.
I'm just comparing the promos that we saw tonight.
Orton doesn't do anything for me, and I know he doesn't have a chance in hell of winning this year's Rumble after winning last year's and putting on that snorefest and that disaster piece of a match against Bray Wyatt last year. Granted, not Orton or Bray's fault. The booking got the better of both of them. That being said, I don't imagine that they're going to have Orton become Austin or Michaels or Hogan and joining them as the only multiple back-to-back winners of a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he's not big enough, especially now.
That takes us to 6-women tag team action as Charlotte Flair, Naomi, and Becky Lynch, who all got full entrances once again because apparently we're running short on time tonight. As in short on time filled, so they had to have everybody do their entrance. Take on the Riott Squad. This time, we see Liv Morgan pick up the win on Naomi after Ruby Riott takes out Naomi with the Riott kick, I do believe.
Yes.
So that allows Liv to pick up the win here. Just another one of those get everybody on television matches as far as the women's division goes. I mean, no Tamina, no Lana, no Carmella, but that's because the leader of the welcoming committee, if you could call it that, Natalya, was involved in the MMC tonight.
And also, all of those people you mentioned, they got promos, during that whole, get everyone to talk about the Royal Rumble match.
So did everybody in this match.
That is true. Except for Charlotte.
But that's because she's the champion.
True. Derp.
The Usos have a backstage interview. Oh, wait, did you have any thoughts on the match itself before I move on?
Nothing really,
There.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, nothing really stood out.
Yeah, it was there. That's what I was about to say. Yeah. My question is, how many times can we see this same match or some variation of it before we finally move on?
Probably another one next week.
That would make sense, given the fact that it is maybe Liv gets her first singles match out of this against Naomi next week. Is Naomi in the no, it's Miz and Asuka against
Miz and Asuka against
Carmella.
Right.
So maybe Liv gets her first singles match next week against Naomi or something.
Yeah.
Basically, you have the mixed match challenge, and on SmackDown, it's a mix and match challenge.
Who's Natalia? Or not Natalia? Who's Carmella's partner again?
Big E.
What?
Big E.
Oh, Big E. Oh, okay.
There was a vote on Facebook between the three members of the New Day, and Big E won.
Right.
Speaking of tag teams, the Usos are backstage being interviewed by Dasha Fuente. At least I think that's Dasha Fuente. I'm not sure. I can barely tell the interview chicks apart. Her and Kayla look a lot alike. We have this conversation all the time on the show. Anyway, they're asked about the 2 out of 3 falls match at the Royal Rumble. They make fun of the fact that Gable and Benjamin can't tell them apart before stating that they are going to go into the Rumble as champions and they're going to leave the Rumble as champions. They then get laid out by Gable and Benjamin, who have 2 words to describe Jimmy and Jay, former champions.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interview attack segment that works well. It was kind of funny seeing them, mix each other up and whatnot. Nothing.
Kind of playing off the fact that none of the fans can really tell them apart either.
Exactly.
Do we discuss the elephant in the room here with the Usos, or do we just kind of let that one be?
I don't know. I mean, yes, now I think it would definitely make Gable and Benjamin more of the favorites than they already were. But we'll see. I mean, obviously they're not going to mention anything about it on TV or anything like that, but we'll see if he, is forced to take some time off or something like that after they lose the titles.
My guess is if they lose the title, something about it will be said on television.
You think so?
You would almost have to. I mean, as you said, though, this definitely makes Gable and Benjamin the favorite for next Sunday, does it not?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I mean, when it comes to recent rap sheets, Gable and Benjamin 0, Usos 1.
Yeah.
We move on. Shinsuke Nakamura Royal Rumble promo. Okay, so we all love the charismatic self that is Shinsuke, but giving him a microphone, or in this case, a handheld camera, probably not the greatest idea. I get the reasoning, but he works better when he has somebody to play off of rather than having to cut a promo by himself. And a lot of that has to do with the whole ESL thing that he has going.
Oh, no, I agree with that. I mean, that's the hole that WWE has kind of put themselves in when it comes to foreign guys, is that they are so promo heavy and so promo based that, like, you know, fans expect WWE guys to be able to talk. So it's kind of hard for them to not do that. So it there has to be some sort of balance. I mean, obviously the easiest way to handle it would be to give Shinsuke a manager, but you know, nowadays you don't have managers really. So,
and especially not for baby faces.
Well, exactly, especially not for faces. But yeah, I mean, he had. I mean, maybe it's just me because I'm a big Shinsuke fan. But you know, even when he only says a few words, you know, his mannerisms and the way he says it makes you, you know, he has that charisma, like you said. So
no, I agree, but I think he works better when he's playing off of people with said charisma rather than having to do something like this where he's by himself standing alone.
I'll agree with that.
Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan are at ringside for the U.S. title match. Did that make you think that there might be some shenanigans afoot here, or was that just me?
Oh, absolutely. I was expecting it.
I was full on expecting a bullshit finish.
Yeah. Oh, same here.
That being said, we don't get one. Instead, what we get is Bobby Roode becoming the new United States champion, clean as a whistle, countering the Colossus into the glorious DDT at 15 minutes and 48 seconds.
Yeah.
I will say this much. For as much as I may knock Jinder, and I have my reasons to knock Jinder because, let's be honest, he's about as dull as dishwater in the ring a lot of times.
And the fact that prior to July, he was a jobber for the last, I mean, yes, I know he only came back to the company in August or in July of 2016, but even before that, going back to 2013, 2014, he was a jobber for the entire time that he's been in the company.
That being said, I thought his rib work in this match was top notch. And credit as well to Bobby Roode for his selling of the ribs, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
that's what you expect with someone like Bobby Roode. They, you know, him, AJ, Shinsuke, they all know how to sell very well.
They gave them a storyline to work in this match, which I think definitely helped it be a lot better than the Jinder Mahal Xavier Woods match was. That being said, though, I still feel like this match was kind of disappointing in terms of overall match quality. I feel like these two are capable of more.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Bobby. You know, I agree with you that, you know, you expect more, especially from a main event. But you know, we'll see where this goes, because another thing, you know, you were mentioning Shane and Daniel Bryan having some sort of shenanigans. I was half expecting, you know, Dolph to come out either during the match or right after.
Well, I think that'll depend on how much time Dolph does or doesn't take off, whether or not he's actually coming back or not. If he does come back, I do feel like he'll confront whoever the United States champion is.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a given. But at the same time, it's no guarantee that he's going to come back.
No, I understand that. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with him if he is coming back. But, you know, if he was staying, I was thinking that this might be like, you know, everyone was talking about like this may being a storyline of, you know, him, you know, as soon as the tournament's over, him coming out and still saying that he's the real champ and everything.
Can I make a suggestion for Bobby Roode's next opponent?
Sure.
Sami Zayn.
I could see that. I think either Sammy or, since he technically didn't get his rematch, Baron Corbin.
I mean, if you want to go back to Corbin and Rude, you can, but at the same time, I'm saying that a lot tonight. If you want to go back to Corbin and Rude, you can, but Rude did just beat Corbin in the U.S. title tournament in the first round, so.
That is true, yeah. That is true.
Whereas I feel like Sammy would be a fresh face in the United States title division here, and especially a rejuvenated heel Sammy at that point.
It would kind of be fun, and they should have done it with KO and Jericho, but especially with them already talking about it and hyping it up for the WWE title match, have either Sammy or KO win the title over AJ at the Rumble, and then have the other one win the U.S. title, and either one of them can intermix for both of them.
I don't know how I feel about people that aren't champions defending belts that aren't theirs. It's kind of sat in my craw before when the WWE's done it, especially when people have gotten injured and they've had people filling in their stead, such as the Randy Orton filling in for Booker T during the Chris Benoit Best of 7. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to do it in the right way and everything, but I think they could, especially with them talking about it so much. It would be over the last couple of months, it would be interesting to see them do it either do it with, Sammy and KO, or do it with New Day, or, do it with someone where it would be interesting to see the different dynamics that it could make.
Do we have anything else to add about tonight's episode of SmackDown, or are we going to go ahead into our final rating and one-word review?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say my final thoughts during the final rating and review.
All right, then. Scale of 1 to 10, Brandon, where do you fall for tonight's episode?
I'll give it a 6. I mean, the addition of the U.S. title match earlier on in the show gave it a little bit more momentum than it had at that point. And the U.S. title match, while it wasn't a 5-star match, it was certainly decent. And, seeing Bobby win it clean and him getting his hand raised by both Shane and Daniel was nice. And it's nice to see Bobby, after all these years of, grinding his way up there, finally getting a title in the WWE. But besides that, like I mentioned before, this show just felt like it dragged, and they didn't really have anything that they were doing with it. It was just, you had the two semifinal matches, and then you had a random 6-woman tag match, and then a few promos, and that was it. Like, it just, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but it just felt like it just kind of, was just haphazardly thrown together.
Yeah, I think I'm right around the same 6 level that you are. Tonight's show felt kind of, outside of the U.S. title tournament finally reaching its conclusion, tonight's show felt kind of superfluous.
Yeah.
It wasn't real, and that's going to be my one word to describe tonight's episode, would be outside of the U.S. title tournament stuff, superfluous, unnecessary, because a lot of the stuff that we saw outside of the U.S. title tournament matches, the 6-woman tag match was nothing we haven't seen before. The Royal Rumble promos are things that we get every single year, and it's nobody saying anything different there. The only one to me, like I said, from the women's set that really stood out were Carmella based on content and Lana based on looks.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the camera angle on Lana was very flattering. I'll just leave it at that.
My one word for tonight, and I used it before, I'm going to say haphazard. I think it was kind of just thrown together. The one thing I'm glad, and you made me think of it, and I'm actually kind of glad, although I'm probably jinxing myself now, and we'll probably see it twice next week, both on Raw and SmackDown. But one thing that I'm glad that we haven't seen this year so far, because it always annoys me because they always
Don't dare knock the Rumble by the Numbers video.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Get off my show.
I'm glad they haven't shown it yet.
I love the Rumble by the Numbers video.
It annoys me because they always say that there are two men that have won from number one, but they only ever show one for obvious reasons, but it still annoys me because it's like everyone's like, where's the other one?
I love the Rumble by the Numbers video, so I'm going to entirely disagree with you.
I liked it if they could actually do it legitimately.
I love the Rumble by the Numbers video, and I have a Royal Rumble book that I read as well that I really enjoy too. I'm a mark for the Royal Rumble, man. It's my favorite pay-per-view, even ahead of WrestleMania.
Oh, so am I. I mean, last year fell flat for me because one of my favorite things, I mean, this might be because of when I first fully started watching WWE, but like one of my favorite things during the Rumble is not knowing who's going to come out next and seeing all of the surprises. And last year fell flat for obvious reasons.
Well, the lack of surprises mostly.
Well, exactly. Because, like, you know, what, like 25, well, not quite that, but like 22 of the 30 men were already announced before the show even started.
Pretty much. I mean, it's just going to end up being a case of how much are they going to be able to keep secret and how many people are they willing to bring in here, especially with the 25th anniversary being next Monday night there. How many of those people are going to bleed over and actually see action in the Rumble itself?
Yeah. But I would hope that we don't get a ton of, oh, I'm in the Rumble. Like, I want to be surprised. I don't want to know that. Like, I would. Like, last year, if they hadn't announced that, like, Undertaker and Goldberg, like, everyone kind of knew that they were going to be in it, but, like, if they hadn't officially announced it and they had just made a surprise appearance, the pop would have been huge.
I agree with that to an extent. I mean, I think Goldberg, you kind of had to.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand that, but I just love the surprises.
I agree with you there. I'm not going to argue that. We'll see what happens with next Sunday's Royal Rumble. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, myself and Patrick Ketza return with WU Reacts for the 2018 Royal Rumble. We will then have our first official episode back 2 weeks later because we're not stupid enough to run up against the Super Bowl. We know better. In addition, man, it's hard to believe it's almost season finale time, Brandon.
Yeah, I know.
The Conference Championship Preview edition of the Kickoff is tomorrow night here on the W2M Network. Myself, Brandon, Eric Watkins, and Sean sits in as our executive producer / part-time contributor as we will break down what happened in the divisional games and talk about the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games upcoming this Sunday as well.
And we get to listen to Eric laugh at both of us for doubting his Jaguars.
Well, now this is going to be the week that I root for the Jaguars and they end up crapping the bed.
I was so annoyed that I didn't, because my gut was saying pick the Jaguars, but my head was like, no, there's no chance, especially in Pittsburgh. But they proved me wrong.
We'll talk about those games with Eric, and we'll talk about everything else coming up on Conference Championship Sunday tomorrow night here, Wednesday, for those of you listening to this episode on a delay. Do we have anything else to plug before we get out of here, Brandon?
My new fantasy football podcast that will be starting the week after the Super Bowl with a year in review. And then you and I at some point will be doing a Monday Night Wars show.
Yeah, we're still putting together the whole Monday night concept. We'll let everybody know more details about that once it gets finalized. So if you're a fan of anything related to wrestling, football, it's entertainment, movies, video games, and all that, so much more, you can check it out online for the W2M Network at W2Mnet.com. For Brandon Biskobing, filling in for Liz Puglisi, I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to the Smackdown Live review here from Wrestling to the Max on the W2M Network. We'll see you in a bit for the 205 Live and MMC review.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.